This is lecture 17 on circuit theory. In the last class, we have seen how to find out the solution for the first order circuits. The first order circuit was that where it consists of only one resistor and one inductor, or it was consist of one resistor and one capacitor. That sort of circuit we have seen. And why it is first order circuit? Because it consists of only one energy storage element, that is either inductor or capacitor, right? And once we have expressed that circuit into differential form, we observe that the order of the differential form is 1. That's why it was the first order circuit. Now let us come to the second order circuit. Means what? If the circuit consists of one resistor, one inductor and one capacitor, then how can we solve the circuit? That is our aim in this class. So the circuit, if the circuit consists of resistor, inductor and capacitor, that will behave as a second order circuit. Okay, so before going into it, let us first write the generalized second order differential equation, that is A0 d2x by dt square plus a1 coefficient a1 dx by dt plus a2 x of t, which is equal to, say, suppose it is homogeneous equation, so let me put it 0. Okay, now what I am observing here is that the order or the power of this is, highest power is 2, that's why it is second order differential equation, right? Now if I would like to find out the solution for it, what will be the solution? We have to find out the solution such that the solution itself, its first order form and second order form, if I'll put it in this equation, the equation should get it 0. That is, if let's say the standard form, which evergreen is, say it is e raised to pt. So if this is my solution, so if I'll put it here, what I will definitely get it equal to 0. Means what? If I'll put it x of t is equal to e raised to pt, it will be a0 p square e raised to pt plus a1 p e raised to pt plus a2 e raised to pt. Okay, fine, and that will be equal to 0. And then what I will do, I will take it e raised to pt common outside of it, so it will be a0 p square plus a1 p plus a2, that is 0, and from that I can find out either this will be 0 or this term will be 0 if the solution e raised to pt is this, or if e raised to pt is the solution of this equation. Okay, so but e raised to pt will be 0 only when at infinity, so I will not take it this. What I will consider this as one equation that we defined it as a characteristic equation or Heaviside operator or system operator, which was in circuit interpretation we have seen in the last class. Okay, so now the solution, if I would like to find it out, I should know what are the roots of it, right? And if I'll find out the characteristic equation, this has to be equal to 0, that is a0 p square plus a1 p plus a2, and this is 0. So from that I'll get it two roots, p1 and p2, which will be minus b plus minus b square, that is a1 square minus 4 a0 a2 divided by 2 times a0, right? And again, if I write in a simplified form, it will be minus a1 upon 2a0 and 1 upon 2a0 into a1 square minus 4 a0 a2. So if these are my roots, so from that I can directly write the solution, which will be constant k1 into e raised to p1t plus k2 e raised to p2t. That will be the solution for the second order differential equation for if the solution is homogeneous, if the equation is homogeneous equation. Okay, now it is to be noted that the magnitude of this coefficient a0 a1 a2 of this equation determine the form of the roots or the form of the characteristic equation. So all this depends on, again, the behavior of the second order system depends on the radical, which is this, right? which will be if a1 square is greater than 4a0 a2. Okay, good. Then what I can say that if a1 square is greater than 4a0 a2, then my roots are real and distinct, right? That will be first case. Again, if a1 square is equal to 4a0 a2, then my roots are in other form, that will be real and repeated. Fine. The next three, if the constant coefficient, that is a1 square, will be less than 4a0 a2, then the behavior of the second order system is different. So the roots will be pair of complex conjugate. And if let's say there is minus a1 upon 2a0 and this is equal to 0, there is no real part assume that, and a1 square is say less than again 4a0 a2, then roots will be only imaginary. Okay, so previously what we have seen, it was the first order circuit, so solution was very simple. But now in second order circuit, what we are observing, again the behavior depends on the comparison of the first term with the second term in my radical operator. Okay, so the behavior of the circuit may be first type, second type, third or fourth, right? So now we will see one by one how is the behavior of the circuit if the roots are real and distinct or real and repeated, complex conjugate, or what else, that is imaginary. Okay, so for this, suppose take the circuit like this. Let me draw the circuit. So suppose my circuit is, okay, I'll start from here. Say there is a voltage source, there is one switch, and through switch I have connected one resistor, inductor, and then there is a capacitor. So let me call this is my series RLC circuit. Okay, so suppose this is of magnitude say 1 volt. There is a switch which will be switch on at t is equal to 0. These are my RLC parameters. So say the value of R is 3 ohm, L, say these are my polarities 1 ohm, and this will be say half farad. Okay, and I have to solve for, let's say, current in this. Okay, so it observe that the initial current through the inductor totally independent on the initial voltage across capacitor, because the initial condition of L is totally independent on the initial condition of C, right? So these are two independent energy storage element, that's why the order is 2. Okay, or if I write the equation also, the order will be 2, because if I'll write the equation for current, what I can write, the current, or let me write for the voltage, that I will apply the KVL in this. What will be the voltage? L di by dt, and what will be the voltage for capacitor or across capacitor is 1 by c integral I dt. Okay, and now I want to convert from integral into differential form, so I have to differentiate it, means or it will become the second order. Okay, let us write it mathematically. So first write the equation for this. It will be, let me apply the KVL here. So will be R into I plus L di by dt, and the voltage across capacitor will be 1 over C. It will be I of tau d tau. Okay, now what I am observing, this is my integral term, so I will try to remove it out. So for that, let me differentiate it, this equation. So once I have differentiated, it will be 0, that will be R di by dt plus L d2I by dt square, and it will be 1 over C simple I of t. Okay, this is now my resultant equation. And now let me rewrite it systematically and make it the higher order coefficient is equal to 1. So it will be d2I by dt square plus R by L di by dt plus 1 over LC, that will be equal to 0, right? this 0 na, yeah. And then if I'll put it the values of given R, L and C, this again equation I can write as d2y by dt square plus R is 3, L is 1, so it is 3 di by dt plus 1 over LC, L is 1, C is half, so it is 2 into I of t is equal all are I of t, okay. This is also I of t, this is also I of t. Now this is second order equation, second order differential equation, okay. So now I'll find out the root. So in order to find out the root, let me find out what is my characteristic equation. H of p is p square plus 3p plus 2, that is equal to 0, and from that my roots p1 and p2 are this will be 2, so yeah, 1 and 2, okay. So roots are minus 1 and minus 2. It means p1 is minus 1 and p2 is minus 2. Always note that in order to analyze the circuit, if the roots are real and distinct also, the roots has to be negative, okay. If roots are positive, then your response will be unstable response. So in order to have the stability in the circuit, my roots has to be negative, okay. Okay, so with this, let me write the equation or the solution for the current I of t will be k1 e raised to minus t plus k2 e raised to minus 2t, as it is a homogeneous equation. So this is my free response, I can say, or solution in simple form. And now my next task is to find out what is my value of k1 and what is my value of k2. So for that I will take the help of the initial condition. So what I need to compute what is my I0 plus and what will be I dash of 0 plus, okay. So to do that, let us now physically calculate what is my I of 0 positive. So what we said initially, switch was open for long time, let's say, so there is no current through the inductor, also no voltage across capacitor, means L and C were initially relaxed. When the switch is closed at t is equal to 0, what will happen? Again, the current through the inductor will be 0 because it satisfies the law of continuity as well. The capacitor will be short circuited, so voltage across it also be 0. So ultimately I of 0 positive is also equal to 0. And in order to find out the derivative of it, we have to consider this equation. So which will be V is equal to, let me evaluate it, R at I of 0 positive plus L I dash of 0 positive plus 1 over C integral 0 minus to 0 positive I of tau d tau, and we can see that there is no impulse present here, so obviously this will be equal to, or this term will be vanished, this is 0, and R of I0 is also 0, so this also be vanished. So ultimately I dash of 0 positive will be V by L, where V is 1 volt, L is also 1 volt. So I will get it, I dash of 0 positive is equal to 1 volt, okay. So now I'll take this, so it will be I of 0 positive, if I'll evaluate it will be K1 plus K2, which is 0. This is my equation, and to get it I dash of t, which will be minus k1 e raised to minus t and minus k2 2 e raised to minus 2t, okay. So where is the pin? Okay, and I will put it I dash of 0 positive, as I have to evaluate at 0 positive, so it will be minus k1 minus 2k2, which was 1. So if I will solve this, what I'll get it, how much I'll get it, k1 plus k2, so minus k2 will be minus 1 probably. Let me solve, k1 plus k2 0 minus k1, so this is minus k2 and 1, yeah. So k2 is minus 1 and k1 plus k2 is 0, so k1 is plus 1, okay. So I got it the solution. So what is the equation for the current in the given circuit, that is e raised to minus t minus e raised to minus 2t. This is my overall current in the given circuit. Now let us plot it. So what I am observing here, I am observing there are two terms and all are damped exponentials. Okay, one is e raised to minus t, which is exponential decay. This is also exponential decay with negative sign. So if I'll plot it, this, so this is my I of t. So say e raised to minus t is like this. This is one term which is exponentially decayed. Okay, and this is my e raised to minus t, and next part is minus e raised to minus 2t. So somewhere suppose this is 1 and this is my e raised to minus 2t part. Okay, and if I'll add it, both the things, what will I get it? Current at t is equal to 0 will be 0, and as time progresses at t tends to infinity also current, the addition will be 0. So your waveform, the resultant current looks like this. Okay, this is smooth, there is no jerk. Okay, this smooth. Okay, so this is my resultant I of t, which will be e raised to minus t minus e raised to minus 2t. Oh, I have forgotten to represent the t as an independent variable. Okay, so let us check it physically. What I am observing here, at t is equal to 0 my current is 0. Okay, and at t is equal to infinity also my current is 0. So let us evaluate physically. So what is happening, when switch has been closed, then inductor will act as an open circuit, and that is all. Assume that L and C are initially relaxed. So inductor will be open circuit, capacitor will be short circuited. So when switch is closed, so initially due to the open circuit of the inductor, your initial current will be 0, right? And as the time progresses, what happened, L has been charged as well, C also has been charged, but it became open circuited. That's why current through the capacitor also 0. So it will be final current I of infinity will also be 0, and the behavior will be between 0 to infinity. That's it. Okay, so initial current is 0, final current is also 0, and the behavior runs here between 0 to infinity. This is the response, and this kind of response is called as over-damped response. Why called as over-damped, we will see when we will summarize all the 4 parts. Okay, after some time, that we'll see. Now next case we'll see, or next behavior we'll see, how will be the behavior when my roots are real and repeated. Fine. For that, now in order to have the variety in the problem, so I will take it the parallel RLC circuit. So suppose this is my current source, there is a switch here, then say R component, this is L component, and my C component, these are connected in parallel. So say this source is of 1 ampere and my switch is open at t is equal to 0. Okay, this is R, L, C, your polarities are assumed like this, and say your R value is 1 by 8 ohm and your inductor value is also 1 by 8 ohm, 1 by 8 Henry, 1 by 8 Henry, and capacitor say 2 farad. Okay, and now I have to solve for, let's say, node voltage V of t. So to get it, let us write the equation. So we know it now, we are very convenient now to write the equation. So it will be incoming current, and this is all current through it will be V of t by R. Current through inductor will be 1 by L, 0 negative to t, V of tau d tau, and current through capacitor will be C dV by dt, and incoming current is negative, and if I shift it on right side it will be I. Now to remove this integral part, differentiate it. So after differentiating, I will get C2 dV by dt square plus dV by dt into 1 by R plus what it will be 1 over L V of t, which is 0. Okay, and let me put it the values of R. I also, if I would like to write, I can write it d2V by dt square plus 1 by RC dV by dt plus 1 over LC Vt. So if I compare series RLC with parallel RC, what happened? The coefficient in the second part is different. There it was R by L, and here it is 1 upon RC. So that will be time constant we have seen for studying the first order circuit, and LC was same. Here is 1 upon LC, there also 1 upon LC, as we can see here. So here also 1 by LC. Only there is a change in the second part. Now what next? Let me put it the values. So suppose it is 2p square 1 by R, so it is 8p plus L is 1 by 8, so it is again 8, which is 0. So if I will find out the roots p1 and p2, so these are minus b plus minus square root of 64 minus 4, so it is also 64, I think. Okay, divided by 4, so it will be minus 2. Okay. This part is vanished. Okay, so here observe that there are the two roots which are similar. Okay, so it means the roots are real and repeated. Now if this is the case, what is the solution? V of t will be k1 e raised to p1 t plus k2 into t e raised to p2 t, which is k1 plus k2 into t, no, not p2 because it is repeated, so it will be e raised to p1 t. Now I have to solve for this. So again, in order to get it k1 and k2, I need to find out. You can consider this or this, what you want to find out. Okay, let me write the p12, which is minus 2t, right? So v of t will be k1 e raised to minus 2t plus k2 t e raised to minus 2t. Now to find out k1 and k2, use the initial conditions. So for that, what will be v of 0 positive? So if let us come to circuit now. So if previously assume the switch was closed, all the current was going here, so I can say that inductors and capacitors are initially relaxed. When the switch is open, now current is starting to going into R, L and C, but suddenly when the switch open, what is happening? Your L become open circuit as C becomes short circuited. So due to this, your initial voltage, that is V of 0 negative, was 0, and this is equal to also V of 0 positive. Okay. Now this is done. Now I would like to calculate what will be V dash of positive. So to get it, I will use this equation. So which will be 1 by R V of 0 positive plus 1 by L 0 negative to T V of tau d tau plus C V dash of 0 positive, which is I, correct? And this is what where I am evaluating. I am evaluating at 0. I am evaluating at 0 positive. So again, what will happen with this term? There is no impulse, so this term will vanish. V of 0 is also 0. So what is the remaining part? V dash of 0 positive will be I over C, and I was 1, C was 2. So V dash of 0 positive is 1 by 2, V of 0 is 0. That is V of 0 plus is 0. Okay. So V of 0 plus will be here K1, right, which is 0. So I know now K1 is 0. Now to get it K2, I will differentiate it. V dash of T, which is equal to minus 2K1 e raised to minus 2T plus first function into derivative of second, so minus 2t e raised to minus 2t plus e raised to minus 2t, and let us evaluate at t is equal to 0 plus. So it was 1 by 2, this is minus 2k1 plus this is 0, so it will be k2, and which is k2 is half because k1 is 0 here. Okay, so now my k2 is half, so I got it this solution, that is v of t will be equal to half, k1 is 0, so this part is vanished, half into t into e raised to minus 2t, and obviously all u of t. Okay, because here what I am saying that u of t means it will be the behavior from 0 plus onwards. Okay, same here also, wherever I am writing the response will be always multiplied with u of t. It means all the behavior is from switch post or from switching instant. Okay, so now if I would like to plot it, how will be the plot? So to get it this, then let us see, this will be my t, this will be v of t. Okay, so there are two parts, one is here linearly increasing and second is here exponential decay. Okay, so smoothly let me draw it. So if I'll multiply this and this, what will happen? So again, initially at t is equal to 0, your current is 0, it is increasing like this, and then it will be tending to 0, right? It will be something like this. So again, this behavior is called as critically damped response. And why it is called critically damped response, that we'll see later on when we will summarize all the four cases. So here again we can check it, we can inspect physically also, that is it at initially t is equal to 0, voltage is 0, as well at t is equal to infinity, voltage is 0. Okay, right, you can find it out. Right, because why it is, let me tell you, when this switch was open, current is flowing through this, and then what initially it was 0, so that's why voltage across it will 0, and after current passed for like a long time, there is 4 or 5 time constant, what has happened, this has been fully charged, so this will be open circuited, but inductor will be also fully charged, so due to the full charge of inductor, it will be act as a short circuit, and so again the voltage will be 0 here. This is the reason that the voltage will be 0 at t is equal to 0 as well at t is equal to infinity. Now next case, third case, let us take it other example. So suppose we will take it in this networks RLC only. There is a switch, say resistor, then there is a inductor, and then inductor connected to capacitor in series, switch, and say it is closed at t is equal to 0, and this is my V, say RL and C. The same circuit which we have taken for first case, say this is my current and I want to solve for I of t, and say my value of R is 2 ohm here, okay, L is 1 ohm and C is, let's say, half farad. So I will not write equation, I will directly put it, that is d2i by dt square plus R by L di by dt plus what is it, 1 over LC I of t, which was 0, okay, by putting the values of R, L and C, what we'll get it, that is the p square plus r by l is 2p plus 1 over lc, so it is 1 into 1 by 2, so it becomes 2, which is characteristic equation. This is 0. Now next task is to find out the roots, so p1 and p2, which will be now minus b plus minus b square 4ac, that is 8 divided by 2. Now observe that this is greater than this, so there will be the radical, negative radical, so it will be minus 2 plus minus 2j over 2, so it will, roots are minus 1 plus j. Now roots are complex conjugate here, so if roots are complex conjugate, let me write first the equation for our I of t, or the solution is k1 e raised to p1t, so it is minus 1 plus j t, and plus k2, it is e raised to minus 1 minus j into t, right? Now aim is to find the equivalent expression for the two complex exponential function, that is e raised to jt and e raised to minus jt, and that will be two in terms of sine and cosine functions. Okay, so this can be accomplished by, first let us generalize it. Let us see the generalized exponential series, that is e raised to x is 1 plus x square upon 2 factorial plus x cube upon 3 factorial, like this. Okay, now here what is x? X is my j omega t, so this I can write as e raised to j omega t series, which is 1 plus j omega t plus j omega t square upon 2 factorial plus j omega t cube upon 3 factorial plus j omega t 4 raised to 4 upon 4 factorial, like this. And then if I'll expand it, it will be, just have a quick revisit on it, so it will be 1 plus j omega t, that is related with Euler's identity, so j square, it will be 1 minus omega t square upon 2 factorial, this will be minus j omega t cube upon 3 factorial, then it will be plus omega t raised to 4 upon 4 factorial, then it will be plus j omega t raised to 5 upon 5 factorial, like this. And from that I will separate real and imaginary parts, so my real part will be 1 minus omega t square upon 2 factorial plus omega t raised to 4 upon 4 factorial, like this. Okay, and here plus j omega t minus omega t cube upon 3 factorial plus omega t raised to 5 upon 5 factorial minus, like this. Okay, and this is what? This is my cosine series, so it will be cos omega t, and this is my sine series, that is plus j sine of omega t, and which is e raised to j omega t, right? Yeah, we know. Okay, cos omega t, what is the cos omega t series? It is 1 minus all even powers. Okay, 2 factorial plus omega t raised to 4 upon 4 factorial minus omega t raised to 6 upon 6 factorial, like this. Similarly, what is for sine? It will be for odd powers. It will be omega t minus omega t cube upon 3 factorial plus omega t raised to 5 upon 5 factorial minus omega t raised to 7 upon 7 factorial, like this. So now I can write e raised to j omega t is already, that is we have written cos omega t plus j sin omega t. And similarly, let me write for what happened if omega t will be replaced by minus omega t, so it will be e raised to minus j omega t, which is cos minus omega t plus j sine of minus omega t, and this is the cos of minus theta is cos theta, so it is cos omega t, and sine of minus theta is sine of minus theta is minus sine theta, so it will be minus j sine omega t, e raised to minus j omega t, right? So this is my Euler's identity, and I can use now this to express my complex exponentials into sine and cosine. Okay, so to get it this, in our case, what is omega? Omega is 1. So my I of t is k1 e raised to minus 1 plus jt plus k2 e raised to minus 1 minus jt. So let me expand it. So it will be e raised to minus t, I'll take it common, so it will be k1 e raised to jt plus k1 e raised to minus jt, and then this I can solve k1 cos t plus j sin t, okay, plus k1 cos t minus j sin t, right? And this, if you simplify it, it will be k1 cos t plus, sorry, this is k2, k1 cos t plus k2 cos t, so I'll take it k1 plus k2, it will be cosine of t, and plus j k1 minus k2, so it is plus j k1 minus k2 sin t, and then I'll replace k1 plus k2 by some constant, that is, let's say c1 cos t plus c2 sin t, for example. And then what I have to determine? I have to determine what are the values of c1 and c2. Okay, and initial conditions already we have obtained, that is I of 0 plus for series RLC circuit was 0, and I dash of 0 plus in the first equation, in the first example we have seen that I dash was V by L, and it was V is 1 volt, L is 1 Henry, so it is 1. Fine. So now I will use this first, what it will be. Let me find out I of 0 plus, so it will be C1 cos t is 1 and C2, so C1 is 0 directly now. Now I would like to calculate C2, so for that I will use this I dash. So I will first differentiate I dash of t, it will be C1 first function into derivative of second, so minus e raised to sin t minus cos t e raised to minus t plus c2 e raised to minus t cos t minus what it will be sin t e raised to minus t. Okay, if I differentiate this, I'll get it this. Okay, and then this I will evaluate at t is equal to 0 positive, so it is I dash of 0 positive will be c1 minus cos t. Okay, so this is minus c1 plus 0, so this is 1 and this is 0, so it is plus c2, so it means, and c1 is 0, so I dash of 0 is 1, so c2 value is 1. Okay, now I got it this. So what will be my I of t now? E raised to minus t, c1 is 0 but c2 is 1, so it will be e raised to minus t sin t. Okay, let me check whether it is right. Yeah, e raised to minus t into sin t. And now let us plot it. Now what I am observing, again it is the multiplication of two functions. One is e raised to minus t exponential decay, and this is sin t, right? So what is initially my current will be sin 0, because of this your initial current will be 0, and this is again because of L is open circuited, physically we can do the inspection. And what will be my final current here? So because again the capacitor will become open circuit, that's why the current has to be 0 at t tends to infinity, and because of this e raised to minus infinity, so that exponential decay is faster than sin t, so it will be tending to 0, right? So just see how is the behavior. So your first part, let me draw first part. So your first part is what for we are solving, we are drawing for I of t. Okay, so first part is exponential decreasing. This is e raised to minus t, and what is sine part, sorry, second part is here, this is all I of t. Okay, and this is your sine function, like this. And now if I'll multiply this and this, what is the resultant multiplication? This sometime it current will be positive, then it will be negative, then magnitude will decrease because of the exponential decay form, and it will go like this, and after some time it tends to 0. Okay, and it will follow this envelope. So here current will, sometime current will be positive, sometime current will be negative. This is my total I of t. This first part from I of t, this is second part from I of t, and this is your total I of t. Okay, let me write I1 of t is first part, I2 to be complete, to have the completeness. I1 of t first part is e raised to minus t, I2 of t second part, that is sine t from this I of t part, and third is the multiplication which will be decay. Okay, so this is called as damped oscillatory or damped sinusoidal, which will be like this. Okay, or again the name, very famous name you might be knowing, it is called as under damped behavior or under damped sort of system or under damped response. And why it is under damped, that also we'll see after this class, or in the next class we'll see. Okay, so now next is what will happen if the circuit consists of only inductor and capacitor. Here what we observe, one resistor, one inductor and one capacitor, and because due to the presence of resistor, your energy will also dissipate, right? Now next, fourth case, we'll see how will it be the behavior of the second order circuit if it consists of L and C. So that will continue in the next class. So today we stop. Thank you very much.